kind of signal, and you know that these people are in positions of trust by their governments in an essentially an adversarial position. I mean, what do you think you're looking at when you see that?
It really is quite curious. I think it just reflects that there's a special relationship between those two individuals. And if any previous president had done that, I wouldn't, quite frankly, think twice about it, because I'm sure we would have gotten the full readout. Right. The fact that Mr. Trump, with all the baggage that he has on his relationship with the Russians and with Mr. Putin, and Russian interference, and the way that he has had this fawning attitude toward Mr. Putin, and he has these very, one-on-one conversations.
That was a little more than 17 seconds. But YouTube considered usage of news clips settled policy back in 2009, I believe it was, regarding it was, I believe, YouTube versus Mox News. But here we are on my suppressed channel. What was YouTube's reason for suppressing the channel? First, spam, repetitive content. I mean, geez, I didn't think I battled that much. And the other one was copyrighted materials. The only copyrighted materials I've used have been video games, the same video games that all kinds of other people on fucking YouTube post and monetize, and monkey see, monkey do. And you see, on this channel, we were the first fucking ones to mention Russia. And by the first ones to mention, I mean, I was the first fucking anyone ever on YouTube, on Facebook, on anywhere, unless fucking Google has search results clamped down so much to where there's like, somebody fucking a few blocks away and they couldn't just search for another person interested in this shit. Although now it does seem like that's the case. But in all of the conversation and all the conspiracies and all the different rumors and innuendos, all the different crazy talking points that this, that, or the other agenda had, and I was the only one to dissect the pattern of where those things were pointing towards, from how many different directions, and determined they were of Russian origin and were the part of a complex hybrid warfare campaign against the United States. So whereas most other conspiracy channels on YouTube are actual conspiracy channels, this conspiracy channel was discussing conspiracies in a manner in which better explained them than any previous expose, by saying, hey, wait a minute, all of these very well-made documentaries, which, by the way, I find it odd that every single videographer on YouTube has better quality lighting and audio-visual equipment than every local professional advertisement firm I've ever seen in every town I've ever fucking lived in. And that's a lot of towns. Well, all these different documentaries, all these people with their professional fucking voiceover microphones and shit, had one thing in common. Two things in common. Three things? No. No Spanish Inquisition. This time. One is that no matter what the conspiracy, it pointed out some horrible thing about a Western institution. Some institution that was ingrained with the United States in its existence. The other was that they never, ever, much like Donald Trump, criticized Russia. And that's why it's just you and me, Mr. Conway. How are you doing, sir? Once again, here with my radio broadcast quality voice. Original content, profoundly accurate analysis, wouldn't you say? And unable to gain an audience whatsoever, no matter how much I put fucking work into this channel. Even when it comes to what seems to be enjoyable, participatory live streams, I do more and more of them, and then my views on other videos go down. You can see my views on YouTube right now. It looks like this struggle to go up and 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 up, and then it just goes like this for no fucking reason. Huh. And that's been my entire fucking history with YouTube. And that's going to be the basis of my legal case, whether or not it's prosecutorial or defensive. Because I don't see how. Like, okay, if I lived to like 50, am I going to allow myself to be 50? Have that little left to do? And not just go remove as many of those motherfuckers as I could possibly manage? You know, from reality. Like, who do these little nerdy fucking twerps think that they could just get away with acting as some imperial power over? You know that "don't tread on me" flag? Well, I chop a motherfucker up in a lot more pieces than chop that snake. Anyway. That's some funny shit right there. So, the problem with people understanding that Donald Trump is an improvised enigma device. No, he's an ignorant excuse demonstrator. He's an he's an ingenious ecological dynamo. No, economic dynamo. Dynamo, yeah. No. 3,000 subscribers, and my videos never even get 100 views. That would be due to the 2,600 Ukrainians who are no longer allowed to see this channel. That's about what I think it is. I think it's about an even split, somewhere around there, as far as which of those Ukrainian accounts were on the Russian side and which were on the American side. I had a lot of, like, actual Donetsk fuckers trolling me in the beginning, in the very beginning. Like, they would find me from the Facebook shit, you know. But we still have 3,500 people in the Support Ukraine group. I don't even go in there anymore, you know, because I'm not on Facebook. I'm not allowed to be on Facebook. I cannot put. Imagine this. Imagine the level. I mean, don't imagine this. This is just picture this. This is what's fucking been my life for the past 5 fucking years now. I cannot put Facebook on a device without that device going to shit. Whether it's a computer, laptop, cell phone. The level of extortion and racketeering that has taken place here against American citizens is unforgivable. And understand just what it means when I say something is unforgivable. That means that in no possible future is someone capable of that action then capable of repentance. This is the result of people whose souls have long since been sold. Because they're not just willing to sell their own souls. They're willing to auction off bit by bit the very soul of this country. This is what hybrid warfare looks like. It's not just a matter of news, business, and politics, okay? It's not just a matter of combining cyber warfare with fake news. These are the 4 pillars of modern society that, if targeted, will lead to its collapse. If you control their outlook on history, if you control their outlook on religion, if you control their news, if you control their business, you then control them. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Like, why won't my iPhone focus? Is it just dirty? Let me see if it's just dirty. There we go. Yeah, that was my fault, Conway. Yeah, now you can see exactly how crappy my handwriting is. Like, as fucked up as this hand is, I'm lucky it works at all. Just look at the crunchies moving around in there. And then, of course, there's the tuft. If you ever see somebody with that on their knuckle, just don't fuck with them, man. Just don't fuck with them. Holy shit, that's my knuckle. Oh, don't fuck with that guy. What? So, anyways. So what does it mean? There's different ways that each one of these things applies. Okay? And when it comes to how the KGB, FSB, GRU actually work, this is a very independent thing. And up to everything from different mafias to different cults to decide. And as long as they are effective in addressing these four things, they continue to get funding from the fucking government. They continue to get a green light. They continue to get that white flag telling them, yes, just go one more lap and you're the winner. Just think about these four simple things. You know, obviously, the business thing. I mean, think about how Oleg Deripaska had us by the balls by having aluminum plants all over the EU, even in Ireland. I believe he has one in Brussels and in Ukraine as well, doesn't he? Big guy, turns out. And he's managed to use that pure business leverage to give Donald Trump somehow credence to let them move money around again. You know, that's all well and fucking good for the people in the places where, you know, Oleg Deripaska is signing your fucking paychecks. But a long time ago, Western institutions used to actually have the fucking authority. You know, like we were governed by laws and shit. And when some asshole had a company that was using it for nefarious activity like terrorism, because last I checked, that's what psychological warfare with the goal of affecting politics was. You know, it wasn't about what they blow up, it's about the psychological effect it has, right? That's the real thing about terrorism, right? Well, these people have circumvented the fucking explosives process, and they've just gone right to the psychological warfare part of it. They're fucking terrorists. They're doing the same shit for the same reasons. It's just not a fucking fancy fireworks display. If Gaddafi owned those fucking aluminum plants, Dingo, my fucking voice is not the green flag for you to chew your fucking dick. Christ. Ornery asshole dog. Dingo! If Gaddafi owned that fucking aluminum plant, would we have killed Gaddafi and then let his family, like, you know, have like a right of succession? No. We'd have seized the fucking aluminum plant and given it to the highest bidder. Hello? Why haven't we done that? You had Facebook and Google complicitly profiteering off of a terrorist campaign. Why don't we just seize them and give them to the highest bidder? It's a simple fucking solution. Right. Buy them out. But you know what? They're Russians. We don't fucking owe them that courtesy. Did Vladimir Putin give any of the fucking American and European investors that courtesy? No. Him and the fucking Arab sultans just took the fucking West by storm. Okay? And said, all this money that you put into our companies, I personally, Vladimir fucking Putin, own them now. Fuck you people. And is that you, Khashoggi? I'm honored, sir. Apologies for my ineffectiveness. He says that there's very similar things have been happening in Saudi Arabia. Civil forfeiture of entire multi-million-dollar companies. Huh. Anybody want to think I'm crazy for thinking I know that right now? Kiss my dick. Try not to chip a tooth. Oh, man. You know what they say about guys who wear size 14 combat boots? They use steel-toe condoms. Does anybody else find that hilarious? I just made that up and caught myself off guard with that one. Steel-toe combat condoms. Like a little Lord helmet from Spaceballs. Charge forth bravely, my son, and thrust yourself into the enemy. What? Boy. Man arrested for child porn, recruited victim on Fortnite. Is that one of them online fucking game things, right? That's fucked up. I think my neighbor's kid plays that shit. His mom was always on him for you know, like checking up, making sure he's just doing like the private things, not like allowing other people to see them online. There's supposed to be some kind of different modes or some shit. Man, I hope at least at this point, you know, like I never considered myself to be some sort of fucking super CIA agent or anything, you know, right? I hope at least at this point there's been enough consideration into the vast, you know, here again, plethora of fucking things that are addressed in order to install a satellite dictator, okay? Video games, ad services, subscription services, charitable dues, you know, like NRA, the NRA, fuck. Well, I called that Russia shit with the NRA fucking early on too. I just saw the NRA affiliated shills on YouTube and was like, you know, that makes perfect sense, considering that their policies have gone beyond the needs of the gun lobby for a long fucking time. You know, the far left likes to paint the NRA as the gun lobby. No, it's the Ruspublican lobby. It's contrary to the interest of American business and weapons sales. Okay, American weapons company have for a long time tried to make safer, more securable type guns, and have never had the ambition towards sales spikes, you know. If anybody thinks that there's an American corporation who needs to somehow cause a hysteria around a mass shooting just to fucking stay in business, you've never been to an American corporate meeting. These are not exciting things that are conducive to such creative ideas, you know? Right. The NRA gets money from gun manufacturers. Yes. But your local Honda club might get money from your local Honda dealership too. That doesn't mean they're trying to sell you brand new Hondas. You know what I mean? the NRA has to be sponsored by Smith & Wesson, or else Smith & Wesson is making a stupid marketing decision. You know? Let me explain. NASCAR has to be sponsored by Goodyear, doesn't it? Or else Goodyear's making a stupid marketing decision. It's a gun club. Car club, gun club, boat club. That's what it is. It's a gun club. Well, everything from porn, online gaming, online political action stuff, charities, clubs, and even just little private fucking things that most people don't even know about on the internet. Things that I have to have fucking dead people tell me about because I forgot that they existed. Really, that's how the Saudis communicate with the Trumps. Dead people are handy. I don't know if you realize this. You don't have to actually hear a dead person. You don't have to see a dead person. You just have to consider the possibility and then look for who to thank. You basically just acknowledge them as people and pray for them and ask them to pray for you. And you know, like blah, 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 blah. What's with the Arab guys wanting me to call him Joey? Jamal. Jalal, but they, okay. Jamal's more common, so they changed it. Joey. All right. I'll just you'll be another Joey. I don't know too many Arab guys named Joey. It's not a matter of like him coming and sitting on my couch and then me noticing him. It's a matter of me noticing him and then inviting him to sit on my couch. And you know, there's different levels of training that a human can achieve as far as spiritual interactions goes. The way mine works is at an automated level of rejection of anything demonic. So I don't experience auditory or visual hallucinations. I kind of get impressions from the dead the same way I do the living. I must then deduce the identity from the vibe that I get from them. So if I'm not aware of their vibe when they were living, that's going to be hard. If I'm not aware of their vibe as just someone I've studied or considered, that's going to be hard. Otherwise, they'd have to identify themselves to me through some sort of idea type impression. The reason for the intensive level of barriers I have as far as even how detailed or overwhelming or real those impressions can even seem to me. When you wake up to your psychic abilities, it's usually a matter of having some sort of comfort with them when you're smaller, and then sort of either trauma or societal indifference leads you to suppress them. But then you hit puberty, and it all comes out whether you want to or not. And I got to the point where I was just I don't know, so fucking overwhelmingly mentally powerful that I felt like a monster. And, you know, for instance, the reason why they didn't have Trump in New Orleans and they had him pretend to be New Orleans. Yeah, the Farm Bureau thing. You notice how they just had him blocked in on the camera in a little building and they never showed him at the airport or anything like that? And he said that morning that he was going to Tennessee. I think they probably just brought his ass to Tennessee. Because it would be extremely incompetent on our government's part not to have verified some of the well-known things about me and my mental abilities. You see, I don't need to show up anywhere. I don't need to plan anything. I don't need to do anything. Remember, you're talking to the guy that could just make somebody drive off the fucking road. When I was 15, I did these things. I'm not 15 anymore. Like I said, there's me, and then there's me. And generally speaking right now, I'm just content to let me be me. Whatever that means. Because, you know, on a daily basis I get irritated and I wonder, how the fuck has somebody not just pulled out their fucking sidearm and shot this motherfucker between the eyes? He's a traitor every day that he's allowed to pretend to be in power. Our country just gets fucking buried a little deeper. But that anger comes from a place of me being temporarily deluded by the concept that America fucking deserves any better. And I feel like I should be protecting children who, no, wait, y'all don't just really deserve it. It's just so much more important that this agonizing process play out so that maybe, just fucking maybe, the American people, and perhaps the world as a whole, will actually learn something. Because, you know, I'm a slightly experienced person. I learn my lesson from time to time. And I understand that no matter how satisfying it can be to just watch some shit burn, it's a lot more satisfying to watch some kids learn. Every single time. That's the hope that keeps me alive, man. There's this constant pushback, this force trying to break the truth. But every day the truth keeps trying to break through. And it's little by little, you know. But I can see little things leading up to some bigger realizations. You know, I think one of the reasons why the left and the status quo is so content to let all this drag out because the further entrenched the right gets into Trumpism, the further from Christianity they fall. Thanks whoever was watching for the other like. Appreciate it. It's been extremely frustrating needing to reach an audience. Not just wanting to, but needing to reach an audience. And just having a few fucking Satanist assholes decide for everyone else that I, the first one having returned, should not be heard by those who would choose to hear me. That's what I like, by the way. The first one. First. It's the only actual status I consider for myself. That is how much I love my children. And all this mockery you've made of the gifts you've been given. Setting up false god after false god for yourself until you don't even remember what God is or what you are. And that's why I don't like the word. Does it describe me according to my memories of my existence? I am that I am. There is no other. But it's just kind of silly. It's just the word dog backwards, isn't it? Why do Satanists delight in that? Is there something wrong with dogs? Or is that an acknowledgement that dogs are in fact better than people? Typically more loyal. Just saying. A lot less prone to biting the hands that feed. Man's best friend, indeed. The dog god. Anubis. John the Purifier, was it? pictured again and again with the same staff that Anubis held. I like Anubis. You know, I don't like that Anubis is always the bad guy in the movies, but I like Anubis. I like the name. It's Latin. Why does the name of an Egyptian god have Latin roots? Bad people. Generally speaking, you can tell somebody is an asshole by the way they treat a dog. You can tell everything about a man by the way they treat a dog. Just like any man with a dog knows that he's gonna learn a lot about any woman he brings to his house for coffee, dinner, whatever the fuck. Go out to a date, bring your dog. Meet your new little girl for coffee. See how she treats the dog. Because if she's not nice to the dog, fuck that bitch. Kick her to the curb. She ain't nothing but trouble. She's never gonna give you anything but shit your whole life. I don't know why, because fucking people who don't like dogs are bad people. Have you ever heard of the chew geese? They're always getting chewed up by something. Those poor chew geese. Sorry. Portuguese. I'm sorry. Those poor chew geese. Those poor Portuguese. What the hell is a chew geese anyway? And why can't it make any money? Why are they always so poor? Oh, I would be perfectly fine to be the only one laughing in an entire room of people. Just be falling on the floor, laughing at my own joke right now. Oh, that'd be great. I'd be laughing at that fact, and I would keep laughing even more because I was the only one laughing, and I would be unable to stop. At just how not funny everyone else found that. Anyways. Let's see how powerful Google really is. Let's see how much it actually helps them that they can fuck with civilian phones. You know what I'm talking about? Aaron Burr. No. William Barr. Somebody. William Barr. You remember what caught my attention? That made me decide, he knows what's up. He was not answering questions when he shouldn't answer questions. Okay. Now, I'm not saying I'd trust the guy with my fucking life. I want him to fuck my sister. Okay. I'm just saying that if he intended to do good, he still could not have answered the questions that he answered. However, he intentionally spoke over people's heads several times. And when sort of hinted at explaining, then was more evasive. After basically I could see kind of his inner dialogue deciding, like, I'd really like to commit to that, but I gotta pretend like I'm Trump's guy here. So let me go ahead and dodge that one too. However, he, on his own volition, spoke of the dire current need for antitrust actions regarding technology giants. Now, if you were to ask JQ dumb motherfucker off the street what technology company they thought had become, what a wonderful time for my battery to finally lose its charge. If you were to ask them what technology company they thought might be in violation of antitrust statutes, what's the one company that everybody would mention? Google. But not just Google, my friends. Google and iPhone. It's funny how they're the last two ones standing. One has been a hypocritical troll for its entire existence. That'd be Apple. That's they'd say, what's antitrust? Yes, true enough. True enough. But anyways, most people who at least know what a monopoly is, they might not know that antitrust refers to anti-monopoly stuff. But if you say monopoly, then people get it. And now, the only people who are going to say Apple instead of Microsoft, Apple instead of Google, are going to be old school tech guys, Microsoft guys, because you have to be pretty damn old school to even fucking know who Microsoft is at this point. I sneezed and you didn't say bless you. Don't run. Don't run. Okay. I was trying to clean and I wound up getting a bunch of shit in my coffee. Time for more coffee. Having to scrub the coffee pot. Alright. Clean pot, brew now. Shake it, 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 shake it like a Polaroid picture. Okay. I really like having to complete a task while trying to avoid sniffling and then just barely making it to where I can blow my nose. Like I take that shit seriously. Like I will get to the point where I'm just like just starting to drip. I'm just like hanging my face forward, just. Thought I had that little bit of toilet paper that likes to stick to your whiskers, you know. Tissue, yes, because most people don't use ass paper on their face. I use ass paper on my face. Yeah, dude, like, I used to get really bad colds, man, because I've had fucked up tonsils since I was probably 12. Never had them taken out, you know? Right? I was sitting there making coffee, trying to, just done without getting snot in the coffee. I've gotten used to it though. The first few years after I committed to not sniffling anymore as a disease prevention technique, it was kind of a pain in the ass. But I've gotten used to it over the years, and I'll more appropriately know when to give up and just fucking snot rocket. But I felt much healthier ever since, like, every time I cough, especially in here, you know, like, I'll do my expectorant incense. Helps it helps this and the black mold shit get coughed out of your lungs. That is Mary Jane. If you smoke cigarettes and you don't smoke pot, you're just keeping all that shit down in there. Whereas Mary Jane makes sort of a coagulant oil that becomes actually it's water soluble. The fluid in your lungs, so your lungs aren't actually making fluid, they're kind of responding to the pot smoke, and it causes the tar and nicotine to be ejected. Well, not the nicotine, just the tar. The carcinogens, all the heavy black brown shit. Okay, that's why my lungs x-ray fucking clean. They say they're hyperinflated, but you hear me fucking hold a note, so. Yep, hyperinflated, that's me. That wasn't even trying. That starts from when I was little. Swimming. Yeah, from the coughing. Right. That's because of the compressions that you do when you cough like that so much. So people with chronic respiratory illness can have a similar thing, um, where basically they're sort of scarring up their lungs, causing them to grow. But anyways, so I would have actually at least considered quitting smoking cigarettes by now. But then there's this black mold thing in this house, and I know that there's two things that kill black mold that you can just burn in the house, and that's tobacco and sage. So sage is actually more expensive than tobacco by volume. Um, and you know, it's just like two birds, one stone, you know? It's like fucking stress and seriously. My sister has some upper respiratory problems. Yeah, upper respiratory problems. That's from my mom smoking cigarettes while she was in utero. But anyways, I think the amount of shit that I have to clean out of my ears in this house on a daily basis fucking says it all. Okay? Like, seriously, man. I sit here with a fucking piece of toilet paper at least once, twice a day. Sometimes 3 or 4 times a day, just cleaning crap out of my ears. It's like almost like when you work in a fucking mechanic shop, you get that fucking black shit in your nose. I just get that from sitting around my house. So yeah, the tobacco smoke kills that stuff and keeps it from becoming an even bigger infection inside your lungs. So instead of any type of inflammation or anything in my lungs from the mold, I just get, you know, black chunks in my loogies. But yeah, I was hospitalized for a mild heart attack in my early 30s. Because I was too fucking stressed out. And, you know, you want to see a funny reaction from a doctor. Being there for a stress-induced heart attack, fucking 32 or something like that. And tell them, you really want me to quit smoking cigarettes? I look at it this way. If I'm killing myself slowly, it's to keep me from killing other people quickly. Oh, Matto was on tonight. Okay, I thought Ari was subbing for her. article. Looking forward to that. Michael Cohen has proof that Trump knew of the payment to rig the online polls. Now let's talk about that, shall we? If we go back into the history of the Lost Begotten channel, you will find that what I said early on is that when Trump started winning the primary, it was because of rigged polls. Now, you see, at the time, I said it was Russians who were rigging the polls. And am I issuing a retraction? Hell no, I ain't issuing no damn retraction. In fact, I'm claiming this as fucking credit. Because what did they say? It didn't work out very well. He didn't make the top 10 on one and was only 5th on the other. I remember those polls when they came out. I thought even then that was surprising. And that helped me as a data point when the subsequent polls came out after, in fact, right after the Russian Google attack on this channel was in full effect. Then Donald Trump's poll numbers seemed to go up. You see, what you're looking at is sort of a motivational storytelling thing. It's not that he paid them and they didn't work, so then he went and paid the Russians. It's more like he, like, look at this as like hiring a hitman. Okay. He had 2 options. He could go to his cousin. He said, yeah, sure, I'll take care of it. 5 G's, bro. And maybe his cousin would get lucky and get the job done. Maybe he'd get caught. Maybe you'd rat him out. Maybe you'd go get fucking 20 to life, you know? Or you know, anybody who's looking to put a hit out on somebody, chances are they owe somebody some money. I wasn't trying to draw that direct of a parallel, but let's do this. You know, you got a gambling problem, something like that. Was fronted a bunch of cocaine, got stolen, snorted it all, you know, it got stolen by his nose. That got stolen by some hookers and their tits and his nose. But anyways, he's got to pay off this mobster. And he knows he already owes this mobster a whole lot of money. But the mobster knows he's good for it. And the mobster, you know, if you're a good client, you got no problem getting your fucking leash a little thicker, you know? You know what I mean? If you're a good client, if you're worth it, if you've got the money, if they've got nothing to lose on you, they'd be all too happy to let you dig your hole a little fucking deeper. Because, hey, you're good for it. There's plenty more they can ask for from you. But you know, you get in trouble for that kind of shit. So you try to keep that shit limited. But, you know, fucking cousin, the night he was supposed to kill that motherfucker, he got drunk and ran into a damn fire hydrant. Fire hydrant, yeah. A light hole or a fire hydrant, one of the two. Did I mention I had a 400-pound motherfucker stomp on my head? Yeah, I think I mentioned that. Anyway. So you got two choices. You can give Cousin Tony another chance, or you can call your bookies. Call the guy, call the loan shark. Say, all right. I already named this guy Tony. What's this guy's name? I mean, how do you outrank Tony, you know? Shit. Christopher. There we go. Christopher. Paulie. Oh, there you go. Paulie. Peter. Peter. Now I'm back in the fucking grocery store. I know I told you Zapardo's was fucking like an old mafia money laundering operation back in like the 40s and 50s. Well, the son of the founder, who at my point was old man Tony, and they had Peter, they had a Polly, they had a whole bunch of Mikes, there's a couple of Tonys actually, a couple of Pauls, Ron, Roy, excuse me, Roy, excuse me, Ron, I'm like Ron, no, Ron, Roy, gotta have a Roy. And no, there were no Marios or Luigis. But there were a lot of Marys and Maries and Mariahs and like all the women had variations of the same name basically. Anyways, so yeah, so Tony, Peter's a guy. Peter can even go with Tony or Polly, okay? He's been owing Polly money for years, and you know what's another $5,000 and he's got to pay off with him. He'll get the fucking job done. But what Peter's worried about is if Polly's gonna ask him to do a fucking favor with him, you know, because sometimes he needs him to file some paperwork at his work or something, you know, cover for something here and there, and you know that's a little risky. He'd rather just pay the cash. So we'd rather go with Tony. Tony, you know, he's a fucking moron, but cut and dry. Well, with Donald Trump, cut and dry didn't fucking work. So he went to the people that he already been owing money for, even though they might ask him to do some things that could get him in more trouble. The risk to him became worth the reward. He really needed that motherfucker dead, didn't he? He really needed to be president. Anyways. So they go and rig the polls, and it doesn't work. And they go and rig the polls, and it works a little. Then Trump Russia started. Then Trump Russia got in a full swing. Okay. And I really think this is one of those speaking indictment kind of things. This is one of them things where they're prepping the American people to learn about the next thing. And when you think about it, this is actually a continuation upon what I've been previously saying. They've been prepping us to learn about Donald Trump's campaign manager was sharing polling data with the Russians. Donald Trump's lawyer was paying to rig the polls. And Giuliani really trying to keep it in a fucking window, isn't he? Trying to make it about a single hacking attack when there's been 13 different indictments of Russians and 7 different indictments of Americans at this point. Yeah. All of whom were in the Trump campaign. Oh, but this is an unpopular channel where just a crazy person talks nonsense. Well, anybody who thought the end game was about some fucking emails or a Stormy Daniels payment, they thought that for the same reason, or actually as a result of this channel being suppressed. And I guarantee you that anyone else who came up with my same conclusions was similarly suppressed as I am. You know, I've never been sitting here claiming to be the only fucking smart person. I was just the only national security educated person that I was aware of who took it upon themselves to say, okay, conspiracy theories, let's do this, you know? Keep on seeing a shadow right there. I'm thinking there's something on my teeth. I'm like, huh? No. Just your fucking teeth are crooked and it's making a shadow. For all the coffee I drink and for how many years I was fucking homeless, I'm lucky I fucking have any damn teeth. Anyways. So, they went from rigging polls via trolls, basically, within the purview of American on American election. See, when an American is rigging an American election and they're not using intimidation or violence to do so, it's a campaign violation. Okay? It's cheating. When an American resorts to seeking the assistance of a foreign aggressor, an adversary, an enemy, and then helps them attack Americans. Okay, not just, making some votes disappear, not just like hiding information from someone or something like that. Okay. Psychological warfare. Making Americans hate each other. Making Americans fear and distrust each other. That's what terrorism does. Okay? This was terrorism without the fireworks. For Donald Trump to conspire with Russia in the attack on the United States that was ongoing due to the Obama administration's resistance to Russia's invasion of Ukraine makes him, in every sense of the word, a traitor. And that's why I said Donald Trump's a traitor. And if you fucking voted for him, so are you. And a basic coherence to context at the time was the reason why I knew Donald Trump's polling numbers were being augmented, not just by Russian trolling of polling, okay, but by a complicated, advanced psychological and propaganda and fake news campaign regarding Islamic State, regarding fucking every different thing that's a topic of interest on YouTube. Whether it's Black Lives Matter or Black Israel or fucking anti-Islam stuff, pro-Islam stuff, anti-Semitic stuff, anti-Christian stuff, no matter what it was, they were already fucking behind it to begin with, and they just, yeah, the elites, the fuck, anti-capitalist stuff. They had been behind it for years, so they just put it into full swing in a way that made people paranoid of whoever was in power at the time, which was Clinton and Obama, you know? But just the same way, you know, it goes back from one thing to another thing to another thing. It goes all the way back to fucking 9/11. And people really need to get over their bullshit fear of investigating that. Because once you start investigating that, it just reveals itself. There's no conspiracy theory involved because it wasn't the government behind it. Not our government. But you can't argue with plausibility. And it is a lot more plausible that the former Soviet Union coordinated some terrorists than those terrorists, having taken the initiative and without training, have accomplished what they did. What the fuck did those people have to gain from attacking the Trade Center? Nothing. Not a single item of concern at all. Not just like, oh, is there a minor thing that they could have made too big of a... No. There's nothing. There were no pending fucking cases with Afghanistan. The only international story that was even taking place with Afghanistan at the time was between them and the Unocal Pipeline Consortium. What's funny is that in all of my conspiracy theorizing at the time, I never noticed either. Enron was colluding with Russia. The pipeline to New Delhi, India, carried natural gas from the Caspian Sea. And you can bet your ass it wasn't Iranian gas. It's been about Russia the whole time. Even the very items that we were, as truth seekers, told proved our government was behind it. Every one of those items actually just proves that the Russians were behind it. In order for the Russians to have benefited off of this, in order for the Russians to have pulled this off, they would have had to have had somebody like Donald Trump. In order for Donald Trump to have pulled this off, he would have had somebody like Giuliani. And both of these people, both of these men, are their patsies to this day. These things can only be true in totality. You don't get to wonder why Donald Trump suddenly became a traitor later in life when he's been working for them since the 80s. you need to understand that there is a big and very clear picture here. And the hybrid warfare model that I just laid out regarding religion and history in addition to news and business. Look at just the history of YouTube and the subjects it's targeted, and then work your way back from there. Because there is a hidden, buried path that this country could get back on that is the key to its goodness and its greatness. But we've been guided into societal principles to false economic practices just to implode ourselves. And we need to get a grasp on what's happened to us and what continues to happen to us before it's too late. Anyways, that's all for tonight, this morning, tomorrow, whatever it is. Then I go. Thanks for watching, whoever watches in the future. Thanks for the one other person who managed to see the broadcast. And thanks as always, Mr. Conway, for hanging out and chatting. Y'all take it easy. Don't take